So I've been thinking a lot about this lately because you get, as you age, you get very reflective. And as many of you know, a couple of years ago, I had a very serious health scare and frankly was given a death sentence by our great doctors and didn't know what to do. And the amazing thing about it through that whole process was I had this calmness, this peace. I wasn't worried. I'm not going to say I didn't care. Of course I cared, but I didn't sit there and just lose my mind, right? I mean, I stayed very calm and said, listen, if this is what God's plan is, this is God's plan. This is the way it is, and I'm going to fight as hard as I can. But at the end of the day, I gave everything to God, which is what you're supposed to do. So somebody asked me, well, how did you survive that? And I said, well, it's because like maybe some of you out there, up until about 3 or 4, maybe 5 years ago, I believed in God, right? Our clergy, I would go to church, and I would, I'm there on Sundays. I don't know if I'm there the other 6 days a week, but, I sort of thought there was something bigger out there. And then an incident happened with my friend John. See, my friend John was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and he was a mentor to me. He was a friend that I had for many, many years that in my early 20s, when I got out of the military, I was sort of a basket case. And he kind of brought me along, and he really got me hooked in and engaged into the game of golf. And for those of you that are golfers out there, you know that golf is really, in so many ways, a metaphor for life in terms of, doing the right thing when nobody's looking, calling the rules on yourself, all that stuff. I do that. Gary Hawley, he kicks his ball in the woods. I've seen him do that. But me, I don't do that. But he taught me all this stuff. And we used to go to Myrtle Beach every year, and we'd play golf with a group, a bunch of guys, and we'd go. And the last year we went, there was some rule discussion we had that got deeply intense, and it just blew apart the group. We drove the 12 hours back from Myrtle Beach. My friend John didn't say a word, just said goodbye. That was the last thing he said to me. And from that point forward, we didn't really connect. We didn't talk. I would reach out to him from time to time because I wanted to reconnect with him. It bothered me that we weren't friends. And I would try to apologize and say, hey, whatever I said or did, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it that way. It got taken out of context, whatever. And he would always be polite, always be friendly, but just say, no, it's good, it's all good. But every time I would say, all right, let's go golfing or whatever, he'd be like, no, I'm all set, we're good, And so he kept me definitely at arm's length. Then I heard he got sick. I'll be quick. I know I got a little bit of time here. So when he got sick, I heard about it, and it bothered me. It gnawed at me. Every day I would drive and think about my friend John and say, I got to talk to this guy. I got to just, close the loop, tell him how I feel. And I called a couple times, and he wouldn't take the call. His wife would pick up the phone, and he'd ask, and he'd say, no, I don't want the call. And then one day, about 6 months before he passed, I was playing golf at a local golf course, and I knew he lived on the course. I didn't know which house he lived in. And it was a beautiful summer day, not like this morning. It was a beautiful July day. And we played our 18 holes with my friends, and I got to the 18th hole. It's a long par 5, and I looked every hole. I looked at every house thinking, is John there? Does he live there? Can I wave to him? Can I connect? Can I somehow just tell him how much I love him and care for him? Because it was bothering me so much. And I knew his days were closing. No John. We teed off. We played the 18th hole. I get to the green on 18, a long par 5, and I looked at my friend who was driving the car, and I said, hey, I want you to go back to the tee. He goes, what are you, crazy? The beer is right here. There's steaks. There's, raffle prizes. He goes, nope. I said to him, something told me. I said, I got to go back to that golf tee. And he goes, you sure? I go, yeah. He goes, okay. So we turn the cart around, and we go past everybody coming in, drive all the way back, and I get to the tee. And I look off to my right, and there's some woods, and there's a house. And who is standing in the woods? But my friend John, crying with his wife behind him. And I walked up to him, and I gave him a hug, and we spent those 10 minutes just connecting and reconnecting. And I said to him, John, how did you know to come outside and stand here and wait for me? What told you to do that? And he said, I don't know. He said, I just had another round of chemo. I was feeling terrible. I was laying on the couch, and something moved me to get up and said, stand out in the backyard. And he said, well, what told you? I said, I don't know. Something told me when I was down on the 18th green, forget about the beer and the steaks, go back, and there's something waiting for you back there at the tee. And so we hugged each other. And we told each other how much we loved each other. And I remember as I left, I said, John, I just got to ask, why did you not talk to me anymore for all those years? Was there something I said, something I did? He said, no. He said, I am so proud of you. He said, but I took you as far as I can. And it was time for you to be yourself. And I knew that I couldn't do any more for you, but I would always love and care for you. And I got in that cart in that beautiful setting sun, and I thought to myself that God is so alive. He is so there for us. And when we do things for Catholic Charities, we're there for other people. We show the goodwill of God. And so it's more than just about helping the least, the lost among us, the lonely. It's about sharing the good word and getting people to come to God and know that he is truly there for each and every one of us in this room and across this great land of ours. And I know that all of you probably have a John in your life and have all kinds of experiences, but I'm going to tell you this is one person that truly believes in my heart and the mission of Catholic Charities and of God. God bless you, and thank you for coming this morning.